Thank you everybody for joining us. I know, especially at this time of year, time is a very precious thing that you have to decide where to prioritize it. So we appreciate you joining us for this session. As Sandy said, this is going to be part of it's a three-part learning workshop series that's being run by Sariti Partner, and it's really looking at thought leadership, and the first one, which is today's one, is around understanding thought leadership. So why are we here really? Well, we want to understand what thought leadership is about, and the real focus is helping you move towards adopting a kind of a thought leadership mindset in your own context. So when I say your own context, I mean for your personal self and also in the organization that you're in. So a thought leader also helps others to develop a thought leadership perspective. In terms of the agenda, just so that you know where we're going. So today we're going to really introduce the concept. We're going to look a little bit at why it's important. We're going to unpack a little bit the difference between thought leadership, expertise, and leadership. And then we're going to really showcase some actual thought leaders and discuss, well, why are they thought leaders? And then we're going to summarize and wrap up. So that's in a nutshell what we're going to do today. But first, I want to move you from kind of work mode to creative thinking mode. And so I invite you to please pop in the chat, what would you choose as your superpower? I'm going to give you a minute or two, and please invite you to, what if you could do anything? So the sky's the limit. What would be the superpower you would wish to have? Let us know. Welcome, Mandisi. Mandisi, tell us what your superpower is.
My superpower, I think my superpower will be, it's an interesting question.
Mandisi, don't worry, you don't have to tell us. Pop it in the chat and have a think, because I would put you on the spot. I'm sorry. Have a think, pop it in the chat. No problem. So my superpower is I would like to travel. Time travel. It would be wonderful to be able to go back in time. I'm sure there's lots of things one would rather do differently. What do other people think? Maybe they're struggling a little bit. I can't see any creative. Becky, Sandy, come, Sarita team. Pop it in the chat. What would you choose as your superpower? Think of your superhero. Any ideas? Ah, nice, Harmony. Able to disappear without any trace. Ooh, that's a tricky one. Nice, very sneaky. Anybody else want to share? Mandisi, freedom, freeing people from their troubles. That's beautiful. I think that would help this world a lot. You could have great impact. What a wonderful one. Thank you, Mandisi, for sharing. Anybody else want to share? Thank you, Harmony and Mandisi, for being the brave ones and starting off the process. Come, I know there's some creative people in the room. Ooh, analyze complex issues and devise effective solutions. Wow, that would also help this world. There's many complex issues and they need solutions. So that would be a wonderful superpower to have. Thank you, Sipe. But you guys are asking a lot. Come, let's get some other superpowers. Anybody else? Ah, to sleep. Someone's a little bit tired this morning. I wonder, Sebo, if it's putting other people to sleep or just your own power to sleep. But anyway, I agree. Sleep is very important. Okay, I'm going to give you a few more seconds and then we're going to move on. Anybody else? Okay, I think people are still waking up, so I'm going to carry on. Okay. So let's get into this thought leadership stuff. All right. So I still want to hear from you. And we're going to do a little exercise. I want to hear what you think about thought leadership. And we're going to go into wooclap.com. I don't know if you know wooclap.com. I'm going to put the website in the chat. You can use this QR code. And then you just need to use the little code that we have here. Pop that in. And I want to know from all of you, when you think, what do you think when thought leadership, when somebody says thought leadership, what words spring to mind? So please, I invite you to go to wooclap.com and use this code to answer that question. You can also use the QR code. I'm going to give people a few minutes just to get onto the website. As I said, I've put the details in wooclap.com. Oh, sorry, I've put in the wrong code, I see. So let's just delete that one. Just ignore the first one. CX. So it's wooclap.com and then the code is all caps CXIEHS. Okay. All right. Can everybody see that? Is everybody able to do it? I'm going to. Okay. Let's see if people are able to populate. And nobody's voting. Are people having a problem voting? I can't see people voting. Maybe let me know in the chat if you're having a problem voting. Or is everybody able to vote? Please can somebody let me know if they're having problems? wooclap.com, and then you use the code. And Becky, I'm gonna rely on you. Are you able to vote? Are you able to get into wooclap? Just let me know. If you're able to, then I think other people will be able to, or somebody from the Sariti team.
I managed to scan. I can see the question, and I'm
You
just gonna
voting?
post
You're
now.
busy voting.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, and Becky, that's helpful. Thanks very much. Okay, nice. Okay, I can see people are voting. Thank you. Wonderful. Resilience and vision. An innovator. Lead with intention. Nice. Please keep them coming. Anything else? What else are we thinking of when I say thought leader? Oh, hang on. Okay, I think if you can go into this and just click so that you actually answer all three questions, that would be great. So the first question is around what thought leadership is. The second one is around what a thought leader could be. And then the third one is what attributes you might feel a thought leader has. So I see everybody's answering traits and qualities already. Are people struggling with the woo clap? Because I'm only seeing 3 responses. Anybody else wanting to respond? If you have problems, please let me know in the chat. Okay, I think either people. Oh, here we go. I think it might be a little bit more. Yes, educated, visionary, resilience, vision. Nice. Thank you for the extra inputs. Excellent. Okay. Any other thoughts? Okay, I'm going to leave those there. And carry on, because we can come back to that later if we want. I just want to move that in terms of your thoughts. Okay, I think people have voted. If you still want to carry on voting, I do invite you to vote. So it's wooclap.com with the code that's in the chat. I'm going to carry on. Can you still see my screen? Hopefully we can still see the screen. No, we can't see the screen. So I'm going to share again. Hopefully people are still voting. Okay, this is what you returned to me. So some of the thoughts, hopefully more thoughts come through. I will keep checking that. So please do use the link in the post, because it is nice to hear what other people think. So in terms of traits and qualities, leads with intention, innovator, educated, visionary, resilience, and vision. Okay, so those are some of the things which are absolutely spot on. I want us to now then look at what maybe other people are saying. So let's see, what are other views and inputs? So thought leadership is the act of positioning oneself or one's organization as a leading voice in a particular field or industry. It involves sharing insights, ideas, expertise, not just solving existing problems, but anticipating future challenges and opportunities. The Cambridge, so if we look at a dictionary definition, a thought leader is an expert on a particular subject whose ideas and opinions influence other people, especially in business. The Thought Leadership Lab says thought leaders are the informed opinion leaders and the go-to people in their field of expertise. They become trusted sources who move and inspire people with innovative ideas. They turn ideas into reality and know and show how to replicate their success. So they don't just talk about it, they actually do it, and they're able to simplify and clarify information in a way that allows others to capture it and repeat it without garbling. So it's a clear message. They're clear about what they want to say. Thought leadership is innovative, thinking, full of insights. Oh, and Sandy says, oh no, we're still on the voting results. Okay, let me go back. Sorry, thanks Sandy for letting me know. Okay, it obviously didn't work. Let's see if we can share the right screen. Share that one. Okay. Sandy, can you confirm we're now seeing the right screen?
Yes, just need to put it on slideshow.
Brilliant, let's do that. Apologies for that. Okay. All right, so as we were saying, thought leadership is innovative thinking, full of insight and information. Again, it's not just knowledge, it's additional layers. A thought leader is a person who's specialized in a given area and to whom others in that industry turn to for guidance. This is what Forbes is telling us. It implies that you lead in the thinking around a given topic. The World Economic Forum says there's 2 different things that are required in terms of thought leadership, and they break it down in terms of the 2 concepts. So thought, asking every possible question, and igniting the critical thinking process. And they say this is the prerequisite for asking, and this is quite good, asking the right questions. So in your sector, are you asking the right questions? And then leadership, so that's the second part. Writing with passion. An informed opinion leader is not just the go-to person, but also has passion to move things forward. Okay. Some of the key components of thought leadership. So there's several things, but these are sort of deemed to be the main elements. We've spoken about expertise. So it's really a deep knowledge and experience in a specific niche or industry. You have a unique perspective. Or insight that differentiates you from others. So you're not saying the same thing as everybody else. You're bringing something that people are sitting up and listening to you. You have high quality content. It's valuable. It showcases your expertise and engages your audience. So you've got something interesting to say that people want to listen to. You have various channels through which you share your content. So it's not just one. You use blogs, social media, speaking engagement, publications, all sorts of channels to be able to really showcase your thought leadership, share this high quality content and unique perspective. There's credibility, right? So over time, you build trust through consistent, reliable, and insightful contributions. So over time, as you provide things that people go, oh, wow, that's really interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way. People take note and they start listening to you. And over time, you're the go-to person for these kinds of insights. Engagement, you're actively participating in conversations and communities related to your field. And I want to draw your attention to the word conversations, because it's also about being personable. People can relate to you. You're not this person who is untouchable. You're dealing with issues that people can relate to. They're real. And really they kind of talk about sort of 3 aspects: authority, innovation, and influence. So innovation, as we've said, thought leadership isn't just about following trends. You set them. You provide fresh perspectives or solutions that others haven't considered. You have authority, and this really comes from your deep knowledge or experience, and also the ability to communicate ideas effectively. One of those definitions we're talking about being able to really put forward your message in a very clear way that people don't confuse. They're able to replicate easily. Influence, the goal is to influence opinions. And inspiration, a lot of inspiration, inspire change and potentially shape the discussion in a sector or an industry. So it's really, there's a number of different components to this. Sandy, I see you say slideshow. Can everybody see everything? Perhaps it's not on.
It's not on slideshow.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Let me just.
We can see, but it's not.
I
on
can
slideshow.
see it on my side, but obviously it's not. Let me just. Let me stop share. I'm going to put it on slideshow on my side first, because that often helps. And then I'm going to share. Hang on. Sorry, some technical difficulties today. Okay. Okay, is that better? Can everybody see it a little bit better? You are going to get a copy of the slides. So hopefully that'll also help. I'm going through things quite quickly. For some of you, it probably makes a lot of sense. For others, maybe it's a little bit new. So I would invite you also to look at the slide deck afterwards. We'll also have resources at the end to help you also just get into this mindset, this sense of what it is to be a thought leader. Is that a little bit better, Mbeki, Sandy? Can you see the slideshow?
It's not on slideshow, but I can see the text. It's
okay. I don't know. I'm struggling.
The text is visible, so.
Okay, I'm struggling to get it onto slideshow. I can see it myself. When we tested it, it was working. If you don't mind, I'm just going to carry on. Hopefully you can see. As I said, we will be giving this out. So it's more an idea of just listening and immersing yourself in these different ideas.
Yes.
Some of these key, thanks, Mbeki, thanks very much. I appreciate the feedback. It's quite hard when you when you can't see what people are saying. Okay, so in terms of key characteristics of thought leadership, these are different perspectives, right? So the point is that different people see a thought leader differently. And so the more you read, the more you get different perspectives for what might be important. And you must also decide what is important for you. So this particular perspective talks about things that we've spoken about already: originality, influence, etc. But I wanted to highlight trustworthiness. We've spoken about credibility. So this is incredibly important. A thought leader is somebody you feel you can trust. Their opinion is trustworthy. And this one's also great. So true thought leadership embodies bold attributes. So it is bold. To be a thought leader, again, we've said it's about changing the status quo. It's not business as usual. It's thinking out the box and really doing things differently. And here's some really great words to think about thought leadership: provocative, challenges conventional thinking; distinct, we've said it's different from what everybody else is saying; actionable. So here we're starting to introduce something practical. It's not this pie in the sky stuff. It's also actionable. It might be visionary, but it's doable. Conversational. Again, we spoke about being personable. So the tone encourages a dialogue and feedback. And you recall in some of the thought leadership definitions we spoke about, you actually wanting to open up in platforms and discuss these things. It's not a one-way conversation. It's not a one-way flow of information. It's two-way. It's around discussing, taking the dialogue forward into an area which is new, and really make sure that it moves the needle forward. Independent is also quite important, right? So these the thought leaders are not just about their own industry. They're looking further than who they are, who they work for. It's about the sector, about changing things, and they're seen as quite independent. They're wanting to do things for a broader, greater good. This one is basically what we've said before, but again, I want to highlight consistency and authenticity. So you're authentic. A thought leader is seen as authentic. That's also quite important. Okay, do you agree with these perspectives? I want to see a little bit in the chat if you agree with these perspectives. What are your thoughts? I'm going to stop sharing just for a moment so that I can actually see the chat. There we go. Any thoughts on what's been said? Is this what you expected? In terms of what people were saying before, they had a sense of these are the kinds of things that are important. Maybe people want to talk. Would you prefer to talk? I mean, we can open up. People can unmute themselves and say something if they wish. They don't have to necessarily put it in the chat. It would be great to hear. Is this what you thought was a thought leader? Were there things that are new that you didn't expect? Would be useful to know. Any thoughts? Well, this is something that everybody knew. This was pretty normal. I'm going to call in some people, I think, because otherwise there's no conversation. It's just me. Harmony, what did you think? Maybe unmute yourself and let us know.
Hi, Kamala. Thanks.
Hi, Harmony. What did you
I
think? Was
think
there anything new?
it was new.
Yes? What aspects?
Not every. I think most of the things. It's what we know exactly. It's just that sometimes you don't think of it as a leader.
Okay,
But
nice.
most of the stuff it's relevant to being a leader. Yeah.
Okay,
So
great. So it was kind of what you would have thought.
I think yes.
Okay. Okay, brilliant. And in terms of have you always thought of a thought leader as somebody who's approachable, personable?
Yes, I think in my view, a thought leader is always someone who's willing to assist and understand and make sure the situation is better for everyone around them.
Great.
It's not you're not like a commander. You're someone who needs to listen others'
Nice.
views as well. Yeah.
Brilliant. Lovely. Thanks very much, Harmony, for being brave enough to input. I appreciate it. Does anybody else want to say something? Please just unmute yourself and provide your comments, because I think people are being very shy in the chat.
Okay, if I may.
Yes, Mbeki, go ahead.
Yeah. So my idea of thought leadership is, I think the topic itself led me to think about some of the people that I've worked with, maybe team leaders, supervisors, and how much influence they've had on me. And there's a few people that come to mind, but I think when I think of them, it's the people that have exemplified some of the things that I would like to see in myself as I progress as a professional. And I think there were people that were really influential in terms of their thinking, in terms of how they carry themselves, and in leading when in times of crisis, when there's something that needs to be done. Uh, I think that's what really came to mind when I was listening to you. Yeah.
Nice, Mbeki. So a few things that are really interesting there. So times of crisis. So in times of difficulty, a thought leader can be quite important. And again, it brings in why? It's because you trust them, right? You've built up a trust relationship over time. Their insights, the way they carry themselves. I like what you were saying. There's some really wonderful characteristics or attributes of that person that you admire and you think are really worthwhile to adopt or whatever the case may be. Wonderful. Thanks, Mbeki. Appreciate you sharing. I'm going to carry on just in the interests of time. If anybody does have anything else to say, please do pop it into the chat. That would be super. Thanks very much. Great. Okay. I hope we in the right place, because I have moved this slideshow a little bit. I just want to see, can somebody confirm? I see that more people were providing us with feedback around what they thought. I wanted to show that particular slide. Sandy, can you just let me know if you can see that slide? It's the let's see your thoughts slide, which says what traits or qualities does your thought leader exhibit? If you can just give me a yes or a no.
Yes.
Great stuff. Okay,
see.
thank you. Brilliant. So thank you for being brave. Look how many wonderful things you guys have said. So it actually echoes what Harmony was saying. You guys are quite clear around what a thought leader is. Many things: strong under pressure, accountable, ability, drives things, grows and learns different ideas, etc. And so there's a lot of things here that we're talking about before. Okay, so I want to now go on to why is it potentially beneficial. So I'm not sure if anybody's got any ideas, but please unmute yourself if you have something to say. What do you think might be these benefits? You all seem to be pretty clear about what a thought leader what the thought leader embodies, but why do you think it's important to be a thought leader? What kinds of benefits would this have for a not-for-profit? Anybody have any ideas before I go into what everybody says? Any ideas? Please just unmute yourself and let us know. I'm going to open it up first, otherwise then I'll carry on. Anybody have any ideas? Why would you think it's important? Useful? What benefits could it have? No? Nobody want to be brave enough to talk? Okay. Anybody? No? Okay. I'm going to carry on. If anybody has any different views, thanks. Somebody's going to talk. Somebody's unmuted themselves. No?
Juanita, sorry, Kamina.
Yes,
I
Kagiso.
have input here. I think for us within the nonprofit space, a thought leader would most instances be someone that is able to network within and share ideas. So
Yes.
you need that sort of abilities within the nonprofit space. So you can't really do it alone. So hands for me, it would be something that's very important to have someone that
Absolutely,
has
absolutely.
bright ideas, but they don't keep those bright ideas to themselves. Then they share and ask others to collaborate with them and build the whole idea forward.
Fantastic, Kagiso. And absolutely, and networking would lead to what other benefits do you think? I mean, you're obviously sharing ideas, maybe raising your profile, right?
Of course.
So this leads us to, I'm going to go onto the slide because Kagiso's giving us a wonderful intro. So it's these new ideas, it's increasing the visibility. So it elevates your profile. So if you have lots of new ideas, and it's not just, what I really like about what Kagiso has said, he's really brought it in. So it's not just about a person being a thought leader, it's about an organization and the people within it contributing to the organization being a thought leader. So it's this exchange of ideas, elevating the profile through all of the people in the organization providing content, making the organization more recognizable and respected, building the brand, making it synonymous with being an expert. It's the kind of go-to person, enhancing the credibility. So if you're consistently sharing valuable insights and expertise, you're building trust with stakeholders. So communities, funders, volunteers, partners, and other supporters and the public. There's the strong engagement. So people want to talk to you. You've created these platforms for engagement at different levels. So it's your peers, it's your policymakers, it's your community. And so this fosters the deep connections. Again, it's this credibility, this trust, and encourages active participation and support. So you're more likely to be able to have these important conversations. And what Kagiso was saying, absolutely, sharing these ideas, sharing what's important, the insights, and then developing perhaps this unique perspective by bringing all of this together. And ultimately, what is this quite important for? It's attracting funding, right? It makes you stand out. And funders want that. Grant makers want to fund people who have something to say, who's strong enough, who have a vision, who take it forward, who people listen to, who people want to have a conversation with. And the other important perspective from a not-profit aspect is influencing policy and practice. I mean, the ultimate thing, we want to get the funding, but why do we want to get the funding? Is because we want to make a difference. And often that difference is around actually changing everything. It's big change, advocating for some real policy change, which can make some real change on the ground. And so thought leaders can shape this public discourse, influence policy decisions, drive positive change in their areas of focus. Networking opportunities, Kagiso already mentioned, and absolutely right. Lots of doors are opened because of this kind of thing. And it really expands your reach and, again, your resources. And it provides you a competitive edge. I know we all feel it. The not-for-profit space, particularly in South Africa, is a very competitive place. There's limited money, limited funders. You have a situation where what we've said before is actually funders have a handful of go-to people which they see as the thought leaders that they feel comfortable funding. So it's very difficult to actually get in there. So having a bit of a competitive edge is incredibly important in terms of differentiating yourself and saying, hang on a second, I have something important to say, support me so I can say it. Leveraging these benefits, you can effectively advance your mission and create lasting impact. So it really gives you this visibility, influence, and credibility we're talking about, and it increases your growth, innovation, opportunities, and overall, it really helps you make a bigger difference, which is why we kind of all here. Here's a nice quote: thought leadership matters because stretching old ideas beyond their traditional boundaries creates new perspectives. It can serve as a foundation for others to expand and innovate, inspire conversations that would otherwise been lost or never started. Okay, I'm going to go through this quite quickly because I'm cognizant of time, but it is important, this difference between expertise and leadership. So, sorry, the difference between thought leadership, expertise, and leadership. It's really about scope and impact. So if I think about expertise, it's deep knowledge in a specific area, involves solving known problems with known methods, and it provides some value, but it's really around solving direct issues. So this is often go to individual with specific information and solutions, and it's generally what we call an expert. Whereas thought leadership takes it to a new level. It's about taking that deep knowledge, and it's about how to use it to lead thought in new directions. It's about innovating, predicting, reshaping thinking. And as we said before, it's about influencing trends, challenging existing paradigms. So they actively use this knowledge to inspire, innovate, challenge the status quo, provide new perspectives, and they do it in a way that actively engages the audience. They create valuable content. They drive conversations that lead to change. Thought leadership versus traditional leadership. Traditional leadership is focused on leading within an organization or team, directing operations, managing resources, aiming for efficiency execution. It's primarily internal and it's within a direct sphere of influence, whereas thought leadership is open. It extends beyond organizational boundaries, influences the broader industry or societal vision. We spoke about vision, but they're visionary. It involves education, persuasion, inspiration, and can affect policy, industry standards, public opinion, or inspire collective action. So it doesn't mean that these things are not complementary, right? You need both. And so it is important to understand that you can't just have a thought leader. In an organization, you need leadership. So those two work together, they complement each other. Okay, I'm not going to go through this, but this will be part of your pack, so you can unpack a little bit more around the differences between traditional leadership and thought leadership. And I want to get onto the examples of thought leadership. So what are thought leaders? Before I get onto that, I would really appreciate.
Sorry, Hamina.
Yes, Becky?
Sorry, Hamina. I'm not sure whether your slides are moving because we still have the.
Oh no, I'm sorry, really. Today we've had this real issue with the slide. Okay, I'm going to stop and then reshare. Okay, thanks,
Okay.
Becky, for letting me know. So, but just don't worry because you will get the slides. It's more about listening. Okay, so I apologize for this. Next week's session is going to be more about you guys talking to each other. So it's not going to be so much about me talking. Okay, all right, there we go. We're on examples of thought leadership. Can everybody see?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, and Becky. I appreciate you being my eyes and ears on the ground. Thank you so much. Okay, so before we go into this example of thought leadership, I'm just inviting you to please populate in the chat what you think is a thought leader, right? So everybody has different perspectives, and I would really like to hear from you. Who embodies a thought leader for you and why? So please just put it in the chat at your leisure. The first person we're going to look at is somebody called Denise Brousseau. She's the Chief Executive Officer of the Thought Leadership Lab. She has over 20 years of experience in the field of leadership, thought leadership, and organizational development. She served on several boards, profit and non-profit, founded numerous organizations, authored books, run courses, including at the Stanford Business School. So you can see these people do lots of different things. They have experience in different sectors. They use different platforms. They do many different things, right? So now I'm going to I'm going to stop sharing and hand it over to Penny so that we can hear what Denise Brousseau has to say about what thought leadership is. Thanks, Penny.
Being able to expand your thinking so that other
Penny, I can't hear the sound. I don't know if anybody can hear the sound.
leadership being one to many and thought leadership being many to many. So if you're imagining that you're trying to scale ideas, initially we can connect to the people around us and influence them and impact them by direct connections. But how do we scale a big idea? How do we create a movement? We have to get people to pick up these ideas and carry them forward. So to me, that is really what the work of a thought leader is. Being able to simplify and clarify information in a way that allows others to capture it and repeat it without garbling it, right? So being able to expand your thinking so that others will pick it up and carry it forward and build on the work that you've done, sort of building on the shoulders of giants, as it were. How does that happen? It doesn't happen easily. We need to really think through and be strategic about what it is we're saying, how we're saying it, and how to engage and enroll others to be willing to move things forward. So I think that explanation tends to help people to understand that it's more than just listen to me. It's listen and repeat in a way that builds on what I'm doing. That's a very different skill set.
Thanks, Penny. Thanks very much. Great. Okay. We're going to move on to the next one. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you a little bit of a kind of a flavor of different kinds of thought leaders. Hopefully you can now see my screen. Okay, so we've done Denise Brousseau. Let's look at Dan Pilotta. So he's seen as a thought leader, an entrepreneur, an author, and a humanitarian activist. Harvard calls him a builder of movements. He's seen as a great innovator in the not-for-profit space, and he advocates for creative approaches to the problems nonprofits face. So again, big issues. He's known for creating what's called the multi-day charitable event industry. So it's really, we all know some of these where people raise money through sports events, etc. And he's authored a book called Uncharitable that's been turned into a movie. So again, lots of multifaceted kind of people. They're doing different things and they're recognized as somebody who's quite different. I'm going to hand it over again to Penny. We're going to look at a short video again. Penny, let me stop sharing and let's have a look at what this movie is about on charitable. So he's trying to, he was trying to change the way people think about the industry. And so the process obviously took a while.
The world. We hypnotize people in consumption. And we don't let the nonprofit sector indoctrinate people in compassion.
We have to go beg for every dollar we get.
We're trying to address income inequality,
climate change, feeding the world,
the horrors of war,
racism, sexual violence,
poverty.
We need to come up with solutions that we can't yet imagine.
What is a world that works for everyone? What does that world look like?
There's this huge distrust with charities.
We're still, in fact, businesses. You still have the same operating costs.
Staff, flights, phone bills, office rent.
We have two rule books, one for the nonprofit sector and one for the rest of the economic world.
The motive to make money is a powerful galvanizer of capital.
We're competing with Apple, McDonald's, Coca-Cola for the same customers.
We're building this magical thing that creates community and transforms lives, and it gets destroyed.
Breaking news tonight.
Getting another charity under fire.
Questionable spending practices.
Where's the money going? The work we're doing to help people has been so mischaracterized that somebody actually was going to come find me and shoot me.
There's something in your brain that can snap, and it did.
When people tell me you just can't change the way people think about charity, I think, oh yeah. We have changed the way people think about seatbelts and about smoking and about women having the right to vote and civil rights. Things can change.
The nonprofit sector is the place where you can experiment and do creative things.
And that means investing boldly, investing in the people.
We want us to be a social enterprise empire. I want to grow as big as it takes to solve these problems.
The next time you're looking at a charity, don't ask about the rate of their overhead. Ask about the scale of their dreams. The most incredible things are possible.
Thanks, Penny. Okay, so he was really trying to change the way people think about the not-profit sector and really inspire people to look at it differently and showcase how hard it is. People don't always realize how difficult it is. So he's another example of just trying to move things forward. Here's Sasha Dichter, who was the Chief Innovation Officer of the Acumen Fund. For those of you who don't know Acumen, I suggest you check it out. It's a really good example of, they've even got a learning platform, which is really interesting, some free learning, I think they've got something on human-centered design, all sorts of things. But their focus is on combating poverty by investing in social enterprises and innovative leadership. He's now left there and he's founded something called 60 Decibels, and he's focused on impact measurement. And it's really around how can you create more social impact through better understanding your customers. So he's leaning his thinking around measuring social impact. And this is a hard field. I'm sure a lot of you appreciate that. So it's good to have people who are kind of leading some thinking around this. He also led a process around the manifesto for nonprofit CEOs. And this issue acknowledging the value of the work of the NGO sector, and it links up to what Dan Pilotta was saying, is it's not always valued, the NGO sector and the behind the scenes aspects. So he's also doing stuff on that. And there's a bunch of resources at the end where you can look more about him. Okay, Afua Bruce. She's a director of engineering for New America's Public Interest Technology. I hope these slides are moving. And Becky, you're going to be my go-to guy. Are the slides moving? Can you see Afua Bruce?
I see Sasha on the slides right now. Sasha
okay. Dichter. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Let me see. And now is it moving? Afua Bruce? Can you see it?
It hasn't moved.
Okay, I'm going to share again then. I'm really apologizing. We don't generally have such issues, but today we do seem to be having some issues with technology. It's great when it works, not so great when it doesn't work. Okay.
Okay, I can see it now.
Bruce. Yay.
Yes.
Okay, Afua Bruce. I might have to actually stop and start again. Okay, so she's actually an adjunct professor at Carnegie Mellon University, which is a really important university in the US. She's a frequent speaker on community-centered inclusive innovation. She's a leading public interest technologist. She spent her career working at the intersection of technology, policy, and society. It's a tough space, that. Interesting, important. She has founded a consulting firm which specializes in supporting organizations to develop, implement, and fund responsible data and technology. And she's co-authored a book with another thought leader. And this book is called The Tech That Comes Next, How Changemakers, Technologists, and Philanthropists Can Build an Equitable World. And I think the reason why I included tech here is because I would encourage you to look at how tech can help you in terms of artificial intelligence, ChatGPT. There's a whole bunch of stuff. The Sariti team are involved in a project with LEAP, which is part of MIT, where you look at different ways of kind of improving the way you do things. And they keep telling us there's a whole bunch of tools that we need to be using around looking at our impact, gathering data, and it's these new technology tools. So it's really great. And I haven't personally read this book, but it might be an interesting book to read. Okay, let's hear more from Afua. I'm going to hand it over to Penny. Penny, take it away. Thank you. Let's listen to Afua.
It's okay. We're not saving lives here. Those were the words a manager at IBM used to comfort someone who made a significant mistake in a computer program that was to be delivered to significant clients. I remember listening to the manager recount this story to me soon after I graduated with a computer engineering degree, presumably to make me feel better about any mistake I might make in the future. But instead, I was left wondering why we didn't consider the impact computer programs were having on these clients' lives. I had been raised to always look for ways to support my community and do what I could to provide for the needs of other people. Why was there this big disconnect with my chosen profession? Couldn't we use technology to drive systemic change in society to improve equity? Couldn't we use technology to advance the public interest? I genuinely loved being a software engineer. And as my career progressed, I further questioned how people, not just as potential clients, but as valuable members of society and humanity, were thought of during the engineering process. Spoiler alert, they often weren't.
Hey Joburg, something big is on the horizon. Whether you're a paddle player, learning the basics, or a champion mastering every move.
Penny, can you skip the ad?
A swimmer learning your strokes, or the next Chad Leclos. An amateur runner pushing your limits,
Penny?
or a seasoned professional.
Hello?
At our core, we believe in the power of sport to bring us together. We listen to athletes, watch them in action, and craft gear that meets and exceeds expectations. Be part of the game. Are you ready to play?
Some people may think of code as just a bunch of ones and zeros written by techies in hoodies in a garage somewhere. But actually, technology works best when we realize the power that code has on our lives. It turns out I'm not the first person to wrestle with these thoughts. I look to one of the pioneers in public interest technology, computer scientist and Harvard University professor, Dr. LaTanya Sweeney. Public interest technology is formally defined as the study and application of technology expertise to advance the public interest, generate public benefits, and promote the public good. You know how when you Google yourself, you learn there's a lot of information out there about you in publicly accessible databases? Well, Dr. Sweeney discovered that a computer-savvy person like myself and many others, if they had the time and the interest, could put all of this information together and emerge with a description of you. Your name, exactly where you live, what health conditions you have, and what your overall prognosis is. This would be a problem because not only does it probably make you uncomfortable to think of someone having access to that level of information about you, but a nefarious person could use that information to target you or discriminate against you. Dr. Sweeney, by employing a variety of computer science techniques, like writing programs and algorithms to discover the available information, analyzing the structures, and reconstructing what she found, showed that this information, this data, was not truly anonymized, as some had said, but could instead be used to identify specific individuals. Dr. Sweeney took it a step further by working with health experts to understand some of the data and with legal experts to understand the options available to control who gets access to this information. But Dr. Sweeney didn't stop there. She went ahead and testified to Congress, a body charged with protecting us as citizens. And as a result of her work, Congress made changes to the system in what we know as HIPAA laws. When you go to the doctor and sign the paper stating your health information can't be shared, that's in part because of her work. By relying on those ones and zeros, Dr. Sweeney's work truly affected lives. Now, Dr. Sweeney is what we call a public interest technologist. She didn't just use her technical expertise to identify and study a problem. She also worked with non-technical experts to put the problem in context and understand what a productive solution could be. She knew that it would not be enough to find a solution. There had to be a systemic change for the solution to help the public. By advocating with policymakers to show how information in the wrong hands could be harmful, she translated the technology into something that could create a positive change in society. This work isn't just happening by people at universities. As I've pivoted my own career, I've seen that intentionally doing research and designing technology while considering the ethical and societal consequences of tech is not an ambition. It is possible and it is happening today. I've gone from being an engineer at IBM with managers who don't actively think about technology impacting lives to driving science and technology innovation from the White House. I partnered with state and local government agencies to develop human-centered solutions that their constituents use, and I've deployed current technology with a variety of nonprofits, both inside and outside of the US. I've designed with, not for, communities on projects ranging from financial inclusion to cybersecurity to frontline health workers and more. And I've seen that for every app, for every website, there's someone who's coming to those tools to have their needs met. Even as we live through a pandemic, people are using technology to go to a website and connect with other humans to look for housing, and to apply for government services. It's so important that the people who are designing those programs are aware from the beginning about the implications of those ones and zeros on lives and livelihoods. When they don't, things can go really badly really quickly. Imagine using a social networking site and discovering you didn't see everything you searched for because it had been designed in such a way that advertisers could prevent you from seeing certain options based on your race, your gender, or your age. But here's the thing. Using the public interest technology framework allows us to not just imagine a more equitable world, but to actively build justice into the systems that drive our world. The reality is that technology innovations don't exist in a vacuum. They're extensions of our political and social worlds. Take, for example, the Citizen Clinic that operates out of UC Berkeley. It is staffed by a bunch of public interest technologists applying their technical skills to organizations that serve vulnerable populations, domestic violence victims, people experiencing homelessness, exploited children, refugees. These organizations have a tremendous amount of data. Can you imagine what would happen if this data got into the wrong hands? Focused on cybersecurity, the Citizen Clinic supports organizations to make sure their clients aren't targeted, bullied, or harassed, and their data isn't held hostage. The clinic provides critical assessments of the organization's technical vulnerabilities and offers strategies and sometimes actual tools in the form of computer programs to allow these organizations to protect people. Do we still think we're not capable of protecting lives with those ones and zeros? In my current role at DataKind, I have the privilege of working with technical volunteers who, like me, want to translate their technical skills in concrete ways to impact lives, giving others access to services, security, and safety. We've gotten to work with a number of organizations, but one of the most exciting projects to me was the opportunity to work with Plentiful. You've probably seen images of people waiting in long lines to feed their families during this pandemic. Plentiful is an app that allows families to find food pantries and food banks and get the food they need without waiting in line. By working with a team of data scientists, we were able to go behind the scenes and create an algorithm that identified issues, notified the right person at the food bank so they could make the appropriate adjustments, reacting to an item running low, for example. Ultimately, we were able to connect more people to food. Now is the moment for public interest technologists. We face problems of massive scale, the COVID-19 pandemic, rapidly changing economies, even political tensions, and a reckoning with racial disparities. Public interest technologists must have a space in every sector so that the products we use every day, products that dictate how we interact with the world, are in the public interest. The combination of skills that public interest technologists bring, including empathy and long-term perspective taking, evaluation of trade-offs with an ethical and legal framework, and consideration of societal implications, are critical to having technologies that recognize everyone, regardless of skin tone, and disseminate true and accurate information. It's time we reframe our expectations of how technology is developed and applied. The people I've talked about today are computer engineers like myself, computer scientists, data scientists, and software engineers, all using their technical expertise to meet the needs of others. We are public interest technologists, and we have a new story to tell. We are going to be okay. We are improving lives here.
Thank you, Penny. Thanks very much. So a few really important things there, that takeaways. So as a thought leader herself, she looks to other thought leaders to continue to like what Mbeki was saying, there's people you admire that you can learn from, etc. Looking outside your sector. She spoke about talking to experts and non-experts. A practical perspective to realizing a vision. So really breaking it down into manageable changes, step by step, moving towards your goal, and really working with other people. It was a team effort. She spoke about a number of different aspects that came into the ability to really affect change. Okay. I'm sharing again. Hopefully you can see my screen. This lady, Amy Sample Ward, is another thought leader. She's a trainer, author, community mobilizer. She's an executive director of something called a community of non-profit technology professionals. And her energies are focused on supporting and educating organizations and change makers. So change makers are helping other change makers in the use of evolving technologies that cultivate and engage communities. So again, technology is helping to create meaningful community engagement and lasting change. And she co-authored that book with Afua Bruce that we were talking about earlier. Then another change maker is Kimberly Bryant. Hopefully the slides are moving. She's an American electrical engineer. She's renowned as a technology industry leader and visionary. She founded, she's the founder of, yes, Becky?
Sorry, it hasn't moved. Can you move it? Can you share it again? Sorry.
Thanks, Becky. I don't know why it's not moving. Apologies. Maybe we're just moving in and out too much.
Okay, we can see it now.
Can you? Okay, great.
Yeah, can see it now.
I'm going to play it from hopefully you can see it. Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Becky. I appreciate you. I appreciate it. I owe you one for being such a helpful person. Thank you. Okay, so she's an American electrical engineer, renowned as a technology industry leader and visionary. One of the things that she's done is she's founded something called Black Girls Code. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to introducing young women of color to the field of technology and computer science. She's also a TED speaker, and she's founded various other things. And her main goal is empowering the next generation of STEM leaders. Right, I'm going to hand it over to Penny for our last video. Thanks, Penny. Let's hear from Kimberly Bryant.
Awesome. Couple more presenters. I will tell you the score, but I want to recognize Kimberly first. How about that? The Heat fans aren't happy, I'll tell you that, though. Yeah. But I get the pleasure tonight and the honor to introduce a woman who's broken through so many barriers across education and business sectors, Miss Kimberly Bryant. At Ascend Ventures, Kimberly's flagship Black Innovation Lab is propelling her vision of nurturing the next generation of tech innovators. By cultivating a pipeline of leaders who use technology to drive impact, she is also creating pathways to equity and generational wealth through entrepreneurship and ownership. Kimberly was also the founder of Black Girls Code. This was a groundbreaking social change organization that not only introduced girls of color to technology and computer science, but under her leadership, Black Girls Code grew into an international organization and empowered tens of thousands, including myself, of girls and women of color with skills and opportunities they needed to thrive in the technology space. Please join me in applauding the change agent, Kimberly Bryant, for her commitment to the future where diverse perspectives flourish and innovative ideas thrive. We are thrilled to honor you, Ms. Kimberly. Congratulations.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. I wasn't ready because I saw a different picture up there, and I was like, I don't think she's calling me. And then I was like, oh, maybe she is. So I am going to use my Gen X privilege and use my phone. But since I just landed from California, it's like, I don't even know if that's 1%, but we're going to see. And if not, I'll just speak from the heart. But this afternoon, I wanted to start by thanking everyone from the Global Minded organization for this incredible honor in receiving the Inclusive Leadership Award for Nonprofits. I'm really overwhelmed, and I want to say with gratitude, to accept this award today and for the honor and recognition as a leader in the nonprofit sector. But even more than that, as a Black woman who created an organization to uplift those thousands of little Black and brown girls who really reminded me so much of my daughter, Kai. And that's why I did the work. But even more than that, it was that these little girls reminded me of myself. When I founded Black Girls Code back in 2011, I had a vision. And this vision was that I wanted to empower young girls of color to become creators, to become innovators, and leaders even in the world of technology. It was born out of a realization, and a gross realization, I would say, that our voices were missing from the tech industry's narrative. And our potential as leaders and innovators remained untapped. And for the most part, it was unseen. When we founded this organization, we set out to break down literal barriers, to prove that as computer scientists could look like someone who looked like me or my daughter or the many other girls that played a part of our programs. We wanted to shatter these stereotypes and create a space, and I like to call it a safe space, where these girls who look like me could not only dream a little bit, but they could thrive and they could be celebrated. Through Black Girls Code, we witnessed the incredible power of providing opportunities, mentorship, and resources to these young girls who were eager to explore the vast possibilities of technology. And in doing this, something interesting happened. They discovered their brilliance. They discovered their resilience. They discovered an unyielding determination. They found that they were the future, and we made a commitment within our team to nurture those skills, talents, dreams, and ambitions. And today, that commitment remains alive. But today, I found myself on a different path. And I wanted to share a little bit about this new journey with you. Back in December of last year, I found myself the week before Christmas on an airplane from California in the midst of the worst winter storm in decades, heading back to my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. I was starting this journey of creating the next organization initiative called Black Innovation Lab. And I was on, as we like to say in engineering, a pivot. I had been on this journey to figure out what was next for me. And in the process of figuring out, the past came calling. And I found myself taking up the mantle of a little-known visionary called Emma Griggs. Emma Griggs was the founder of Griggs College, and as a symbol for me of going home and taking up the legacy of our ancestors. Emma Griggs was an educator much like myself and an innovator. And she founded a historically Black college called Griggs in 1916 in Memphis, Tennessee. Griggs College was a beacon of hope for African Americans in Memphis, Tennessee. And it trained them to get into what we call white collar jobs and stenography, secretarial skills, etc., in an area that they had traditionally been locked out of. These students that attended Griggs were the activists in Memphis. They were the ones that were on the front lines of the civil rights movement. And the college for them provided a profound connection to history, hope, and innovation. As a native Memphian, I find that my return home is not just a detour on my professional journey. It's a homecoming, and I'd even say it is a calling. It's a chance to help ignite change and give back to the place that raised me and to the people that made me. And I always tell people that I meet when I say, yeah, I'm from Memphis, they say, oh, you maybe I do have an accent. Maybe you all think I do. Some people think I don't. I was like, yeah, I'm from Memphis. I'm a Southerner by heart, but I've been gone for many years, and I try not to go back home, but home always calls me back. And the goal of this work with Black Innovation Lab is to give back to the place that made me and to bring all of those skills that I gained when I was away from home back to the place where it all began. And so I'll end by saying this. A favorite quote of mine is by an author, Kerry James Marshall, and he says, "We must make a certain peace with the past and be firmly focused on the future." And so for the students, I want to tell you this. For everybody that you saw up here today that got an award, you better believe that the path to success was not a straight line. There are peaks and valleys. There is ups and downs. And sometimes, as my mama would say, you're going to have to go through some things. But I want to tell you the greatest lessons are learned in the valleys, not the peaks. And whatever you do, give yourself a little grace, keep a lot of faith, and keep going, because we need you. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny.
Transitioning to carbon.
Okay, I'm cognizant of time, but I just want to just quickly talk about that last video. So you saw she was very personable. She had a vision, but she spoke about doing things step by step. The path to success is not a straight line, she said. You need to shatter stereotypes, create a safe space to affect social change. And also all skills, all knowledge is valuable. That was also quite important coming out of that. Hopefully you can see my screen. So we're talking about Simon Sinek. I'm going to go through this quite quickly. The resources are going to be at the end of the slide deck, and there's a lot of more information around all these people. But what he was known for is that he had the third most watched TED Talk of all time, and it's in the link at the end, and it's really starting with why. So it's asking the right questions. A thought leader is also about asking the right questions and layering what they know and what they get from other people to really kind of come to these new insights, to this vision that then you start working towards, like Kimberly Bryant was talking about. Then there's somebody else called Brene Brown, and I don't know if my slides are moving, but if not, just listen. And the information is at the end. She's very different. So she's not in our space. She's an academic and podcaster. She calls herself a researcher and storyteller, and she really talks about all these softer things: courage, vulnerability, shame, empathy. She's authored several books and inspires people to become their authentic self. And we spoke about a thought leader having to be authentic so that people trust them. So there's this issue. You saw how Kimberly actually opened up and said it was a hard journey. And Brene Brown talks about this hard journey. And I encourage you to see the resources at the end of the slide deck when you get them, because she talks about how it's not all a picnic. Becoming a thought leader, you can get a lot of negative comments, and it's about being true, believing in yourself. And she says you are imperfect, you are wired for struggle. So like Kimberly was saying, we have to struggle, but you are worthy of love and belonging. So it's really around believing yourself and continuing even when it gets a little bit tough. Then there's somebody else called Andy Ayem. So he's in the UK, and he created a lot of focus on angel investing, and his focus is on saying that opportunity, so potential is available everywhere, but opportunity is not. And his idea is to really create this opportunity. And so his quote, which I thought was lovely, is, "I teach, speak, and create experiences to foster self-development for leaders." So it's moving leadership to the next level. Okay. I want to just open it up to see what people thought. Like, what stood out for you? What did you think of these thought leaders? Do you have any other thought leaders that come to mind, particularly in the South African context, that you think one should be looking at? And which thought leaders could we be showcasing here? So please, I invite you in the chat in our last few minutes just to share your thoughts. I know everybody's been a little bit shy. Please use either the chat or just talk. Please just unmute yourself and let us know some sort of closing thoughts before I kind of recap and close off. Thanks very much. And I appreciate your attention. Thank you. Let us know what you think.
Should we use the chat box?
Whatever, Bukang. Is it Bukang?
Yes, it is.
Well, Kang, tell us what you think, because I think people have been so shy. So if you're willing to use your voice, use your voice.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I really think this was a profound session. You know, I think we always speak about thought leadership, but we never dive deeper into what it is and what does it mean. And what I loved about this, I think for me, it goes back to personal branding. So it's how you brand yourself as an individual. And then once you've maintained that brand, then it automatically turns you into being a thought leader. And for me, I'm thinking about one woman that I found very influential. She's called Nontokozo Madonsela. She's actually the CMO group, CMO at Momentum Group. So she's like the chief marketing officer, and she has won a lot of awards when it comes to media and marketing. One of the award that she won was the Advanced Media Most Influential Young South African Business Leader Award. But what I love about her is that how she actually has found her purpose in life, and she always says her purpose in life is being a catalyst for total transformation. And everything that she does, it's always around how does she transform the work that she has done. And through being clear around what is her personal purpose, it has actually turned her into being this leader that everyone goes to when it comes to marketing. And I think the work that she has done in terms of how she has transformed different brands also speak to her being a thought leader, because people resonate with the work that she's been doing in the industry. And now she has actually launched a podcast called Truth Table with Nontokozo Madonsela, because she felt she has so much that she needs to share. There's a lot of things that people are unaware, and she has made that awareness through a podcast that people can actually relate to her at a personal level and what she do and why she does what she does. And through that way, I've actually connected as if I know her. And the first time when I met her, it made me feel like I've known her for years, but it's because of I've been witnessing the work that she's been doing and how transformative it has been. And for me, that's one person that I relate to, and I've seen how she has built her brand from the ground, and how she has actually maintained the momentum to get where she is, and she has actually worked to command respect because of the work that she has done. So that's one person that I can speak through that
Thank you, Bokang. Thank you. That was wonderful. You touched on so many important points. I mean, you spoke about being clear about your personal purpose. That was very valuable. Being a catalyst for total transformation. And then this person has multiple platforms, and as you said, personable, and also somebody you can admire. So thank you. That's wonderful. I've written her down, and we'll certainly bring her also into the next session. So thank you, Bokang, for sharing. I really appreciate you being brave.
Thanks. And I think just to add again is that what I've seen when it comes to thought leadership is that sometimes for you to turn yourself into a thought leader, it's also you resonating with people that their experiences links back to you.
Yes,
Because I think
yes.
sometimes I mean, for instance, I mean, I wouldn't relate to someone that is more international. I mean, I'm talking from a personal perspective here, that I would want to know that what's your story? What is it that I admire about you, and how have you gotten there? And then for me, I'll link it back to say, who am I, and what is it that draws me to this person, and how do I set myself as well, not being that person, but what can I find that is unique about me that will get me to a certain point where people will know that if it's anything that has to do with education, I'm the go-to person. But taking this experience from someone that I've seen build their experience from the ground. So I usually advise people that when you build yourself as a thought leader, you actually have to have someone that you also look up to and you relate to what they do.
100%. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's very helpful, very useful, very insightful. Harmony has said also, a thought leader always speaks from the heart, similar to what you're saying, ignites change, and one must create a significant difference in people's lives through insight. So again, really, really important points. Unfortunately, we've basically reached the end. I can see I have sort of 3 minutes, so I'm going to have to unfortunately stop this really good conversation, but to be continued next week. I'm going to just quickly go back to the presentation, just to run through what is in it, so that you know. I'm not going to be able to go through the other thought leaders. Well, no, we've gone through everybody, so that's perfectly fine. In terms of the wrap up, just to quickly recap, we've spoken about it. I think everybody's pretty clear. Thought leadership is multifaceted. It's not just about having expertise or holding a leadership position. Bokang, Harmony, a number of people spoke about how important it is to be personable. You have these expertise, you have these insights, and you forward thinking, you take a vision to the next level, and you challenge the status quo, you inspire this change. And we've spoken about the importance of influence, visibility, and credibility, and then again the benefits this has in the not-for-profit sector. So it leads to more funding, greater policy influence, the real change that we're talking about. We've all spoken about this. You really stand out from the crowd. And just finally, what a number of these thought leaders said is the reality is one does not become a thought leader overnight. You work towards it one step at a time. The path to success is not a straight line. That's what Kimberly Bryan said, and that's exactly true. And next week we will expand on this concept, so that you can feel confident to work towards this goal, armed with information and tools to start you on this journey. So next week's going to be a lot more practical. We're going to look at what a mindset, thought leadership mindset is, and how you can start taking practical steps to changing it, to becoming a thought leader. Everybody can become a thought leader. I love it, because Bokang spoke about himself being a thought leader, and you have it in you. It's just about taking certain steps to be able to entrench that, for it to become part of who you are. I apologize for running through this last bit. There are 2 pages of resources at the end, and I encourage you to check these out and more. I love the fact that Bokang mentioned a truth table podcast. That one sounds wonderful to also check out, and I'm sure there's lots of other very interesting things. So please do just continue to read, continue to learn, and have a look at these resources. I want to say thanks very much, and also we would appreciate if you could do the evaluation. I think Penny has put that in the chat, the details. And so I'm going to hand it over to our Sariti partner program manager, Sandy, just to close it off. And I would like to say thanks so much for participating, and I really hope that you join me for next time. I promise we won't have so many technical issues. We will certainly make sure we try and iron those out, and it'll be very practical, a lot more discussion, and we look forward to seeing you next time. So thanks so much for your time. Handing it over to you, Sandy, to close us off.
Thank you so much, Kamena, for that a really wonderful session, and I hope our partners and Sariti staff will continue to join us on this journey as we close the year, to close off on the whole note of continual learning. We have 2 more sessions coming up, so please do watch out for that. We will be sharing the slides from today, as well as the link to next week's session with everybody that's registered. Thank you, and have a great day further. Please do remember to complete the evaluation or feedback form rather. It literally takes 1 minute or less. Thanks, and bye.